Hey there, everyone. That sexy nerd is back again. And new nostalgia critic, everyone. We got, he's doing The Sword in the Stone. And I'm like, I love this movie. I loved it more than, well, to be fair, I haven't watched it that much, but I always have heard that people are like, oh, this is an animated classic. And I'm like, yes. Do you not have culture in your life, you idiot? So here I am, but I always defend that movie. I always think it's better than people give it credit for. And the Wizard's Duel, I don't know why, but I feel like most people have done this. They constantly just watch that part over and over again. It's the best part of the movie, and I really cannot understand why, but it's still really a lot of fun. It's. He's probably going to mention it when we go into the review. But yeah, other than that, I've got more videos coming out, and I'm wanting to hopefully bring Puss in Boots and eventually The Neverending Story into these. So let me know which one do you want to see first, because I'm already working on Neverending Story. So I don't know. What do you guys think? You want to see Neverending Story, or do you want me to do Puss in Boots? The Last Wish. Sound off in the comments below. But hey, let's not dilly-dally anymore. Let's just get into the episode. And remember, please smash that like button if you want to see more sexy and nerdy content, and subscribe if you think I deserve it. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, and I could use y'all help. With that out of the way, let's get into it, y'all.
Hello, I'm a nostalgia critic guy. Remember it so you don't have to. Everybody has that movie that they kind of go through phases with. Sometimes they like it, sometimes they don't, but it always sticks with them. Sword in the Stone is one of those movies for me.
Okay,
Released in 1963, this Disney film is a unique mix of a lot of contradictions. For example, it feels timeless, but also really feels like it was released in 1963.
Yeah.
It has a beatnik feel to it, like, hey man, what if we told one of the greatest stories ever before it was one of the greatest stories ever? And like, nothing happens in it. Like they turn into fish, birds, and squirrels, and that's it. They just turn to fish, birds, and squirrels. Snap for me, baby, yeah. Now, there's nothing wrong with small stories. Some of my favorite things ever made are small stories, but there's often a beauty to the ones that last over the years. Sword in the Stone isn't beautiful as much as laid back. Nothing especially important is being taught that most people going in don't know, but you could argue it's being experienced. Yeah, you kind of forget how cool the world can be with something as simple as birds flying, or fish swimming, or squirrels climbing trees. It doesn't knock you over the head with it, but it speaks to kids who love how neat the little things are, and I guess adults too, being reminded of how neat the little things are. It combines simple reality and whimsical fantasy, past mindsets with future ideas, shows off, yet still stays kind of quiet, and has plenty of flaws, however, they're flaws you grow to like. For years, when someone would ask me if it's good, I'd go back and forth between saying it's brilliant or it's boring. Maybe its identity is somewhere in between, and maybe in a strange way, that's what it's going for. I've introduced it long enough. Let's start really examining it. This is, I guess a personal favorite the more I think about it, The Sword in the Stone. I love people kind of forget how seriously the film opens up. We always think of the bouncy songs with playful lyrics, but you'd swear this singer thought he was auditioning for Ave Maria and Fantasia.
And that miracle appeared.
It's telling the story. To be fair, I always thought of it as they're explaining English history, or at least an English legend, with the seriousness that it deserves. Because regardless of it being a sort of made up story, even though there's no definitive proof that there was a King Arthur, it has inspired a lot more than people remember. It's not only has it inspired a lot, it's something that is held on through the ages. So
okay, a sugar bowl's gonna fight a teapot, Emmett. Calm down. But that is kind of what works about it. There is an underlying weight to what's going on because we know these characters are going to be some of the most important in storytelling history. And even though they don't dwell on that, though it'd be very easy to, it's still present. They say England is without a king, the Dark Ages has begun, and a mysterious sword in a stone appeared declaring whoever pulls it out will be king. No one can do so, and thus we cut to Merlin, played by Carl Swenson, who, if you're like me, was your introduction to wizards. And all our kids now have Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Pump up the jam. Pump it up.
But there is a bit of an OG mentality having a blue pointy hat guy named Merlin be your first intro. He's perfectly bumbling, but still has knowledge beyond his years, as this version has gone to see the future.
I have the power to see into the future. I've even been there, lad.
We never do see him going to the future, but I think that's part of the fun.
You kind of do.
I think it's more fun if we just imagine him going there and what his reactions would be.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially with the little hints we get here and there.
Yeah.
From Bermuda and the 20th century. And believe me, you can have it.
We're then introduced to his husband, pet, an owl named Archimedes, who he constantly argues with. He doesn't believe that Merlin can predict that somebody important is going to be arriving at their house.
He'll be a boy, 11, 12 years old.
He will have a big key, and I will give him many annoying side missions.
I love that. That was awesome. That was awesome. I was thinking about Merlin in the Kingdom Hearts because regardless of how it's like this movie. He is barely in the game, but his presence is felt. They didn't even give him a voice until the second game.
His way is, of course, a boy named Arthur, played by, I think, any boy who walked by the studio.
That big fish almost swallowed me, and
He was a monster. The biggest fish I ever saw.
Apparently, the original actor, Ricky Sorensen's voice, was changing, so one of the directors switched him out with his two sons. And you can barely tell.
Yeah.
Oh, Sir Actor.
Sorry, my balls can't decide if they're dropping or not. Arthur is out with his kinda brother Kay, who, get this, is Lou from Back to the Future.
What?
And I swear is drawn like every American's face doing a bad British accent.
Quiet, Ward. Nobody asked you to come along in the first place.
Oh, made me right angry what you did. What? Arthur literally drops into Merlin's home, and I absolutely love Merlin's reaction when he asks him his name.
oh, my name's Arthur, but everyone calls me Wart.
Oh.
I'll be sure to clean that seat thoroughly after you're done sitting in it.
I happen to be a wizard, a soothsayer, a prognosticator.
A meme generator!
What the hell happened to his
rather
eyes?
quick,
and that's a meme? I've never seen that meme. Boy, I need to get out more.
Guess this is as good a time as any to talk about the animation. This was done after 101 Dalmatians revolutionized a new Xerox way of animating. So in some respects, you're seeing the rough pencil drawings as well as the painted cells. Compare this to both older and more modern Disney animated films and you can see a clear difference. And I will admit, I do kind of go back and forth on it.
It's nice.
I'm a sucker for seeing the pencil drawings of a film because you do see what went into each frame of movement.
Wow.
And the sketchy look does add personality to things with hair or wrinkly skin. On the other hand, it is odd being told this is a finished product when you can clearly see ink splotches and lines not filled in. But I don't know, the film I think is supposed to have an old rustic look to it. It is the Dark Ages, so I kind of go along with it.
Okay.
But I've got to get back to the castle.
When Arthur says he has to go, Merlin insists that he comes with him, because an old man living with a boy he just met is fine. No, really, it was destiny that we met anyway. And he partakes in a lot of people's favorite moment, packing his home into his bag.
Pockety, pockety, wackety, whack. Abracadabra.
The songs are by the legendary songwriters, the Sherman Brothers,
Oh, of course.
though most of them are pretty much read as opposed to sung.
Alakafez, Balakazaz.
The magnificent, marvelous, magic man.
To and fro, stop and go.
Shatner will have an album out on this soon. They're still crazy memorable.
I know, right?
And where this wolf tries to eat them, leading to some good slapstick, but
That was
I
funny.
never noticed there is some good stuff with the characters here.
I don't have any problems.
Oh, Pa, everybody's got problems.
Arthur insisting he has no problems, just chores, clearly shows he's humble but has no idea what he's capable of. Merlin insisting magic can't solve all your problems despite not knowing what Arthur's legacy is yet is also very telling. I like he doesn't build up that he will be something great, but rather he can be something great. Again, it'd be so easy to have Merlin just aware he's gonna be king, but by not having that in there, everything they're saying is just a good life lesson in general. It's not like this is good advice for someone who's gonna be a powerful person, it's just good advice for anyone to live a decent life. Again, it's a little thing, but I think it means a lot. We're then shown his foster father, Sir Hector, played by Sebastian Cabot.
I remember Sir
He usually
Sir
plays
Hector.
these very dignified characters, so it's kind of fun to watch him play someone who's a bit of a dumbass.
Yeah.
Who are you? You.
It'd be so...
I always wondered if that was the same father from Cinderella, by the way. It kind of sounds like the same character, and it even looks like the same character. So it always weirded me out. But Disney had a lot of instances where it would just rip off its own animation. Like, man, we think they were unoriginal now. Like, there were literally scenes from other movies in their upcoming into their movies that came out after. It's weird.
So easy to make him a villain, but he's really more a product of the times. He doesn't know what to do with this kid. He just gives him chores and tells him to stay out of the way so he can focus on the one he thinks has more promise. I mean, geez, the kid is a thief stealing from other Disney films, for God's sake. Actually, this one's so low budget, it steals from its own animation half the time. Merlin introduces himself and says he wants to
Called it. I called it.
develop Arthur's skills, but when...
Disney movies like this are very, very personal to me. I mean, even this, I never watched it that much, but don't take my word for it because it still was a lot for most people.
And he says no, Merlin persuades him with his powers.
Hey, Kay, hey, would you look at this? An indoor blizzard.
So what?
I can make a tsunami in me chamber pot, I can, what? He's put in the North Tower, which, by God, does this thing have personality. It looks like if Rapunzel's tower was begging for money. When Sir Pellinor arrives, saying it's decided the crown will go to whoever can win a championship of strength. Oh, also, this is Alfred from Batman. I have no joke, that's just cool.
King of all England.
They start training Kay, and once again, I love that Arthur, despite being a goof-up, is still a hard worker and takes joy in what he does. Even if deep down he knows it's nothing, he wants to do that nothing the best he can, never complaining and trying to be as helpful as possible. For many kids, this is their introduction to King Arthur, and I don't think it's a bad one. I think it's better to know him first as an unassuming nobody before he becomes one of the world's most historic somebodies. Also, he's a fish. I've never been a fish. It's cool.
Every
I know,
flick
right?
of a fin.
The genius about this movie is that they, like, as he said earlier, it makes the most seemingly mundane things seem really cool. Swimming as a fish, running as a tree and a squirrel, or what was the other one? Oh, flying as a bird. Everything. That technically, all those are superpowers. Think about it: breathing underwater, flying in the air, and Spider-Man powers climbing up trees. I'm reaching here, I know.
Creates movement.
So this is the beginning of the transformations into different animals. Merlin is teaching him how to see things from different points of view and how many different worlds and environments there are to live in. And yeah, again, you could see this as kind of boring. It's not like Finding Nemo where there's an enchanted wonderland of ocean and tons of colorful worlds to explore. You're in a shithole pond. Hell, it might literally be a shithole. But the movie is clever at just letting you
the Dark
be
Ages.
there. It's crazy slow, but you start to relax to it. Even this lead-in with the animation on the water. I think they just switched the painted cells around so you don't see the lines. I could be wrong on that. And yeah, this isn't like an amazing shot, but you do remember it. It's something a little different, shown from a neat angle, and it just lets you enjoy what a simple yet memorable visual it is. It's just so laid back. Until it isn't. Yeah, this fish scared the shit out of me as a kid. There may not be any villains, but there's certainly antagonists in this. And
It's a pike. It's a pike.
swear this fish is half crocodile, half maleficent minion. He's a freaky little shit.
Bravo, boy!
Merlin lets him fight his own battle by using his wits, but when he can't remember the magic words, Archimedes comes to save the day, but of course denies it.
I intended to eat him. Young perch is my favorite dish. You know that.
I was never eat fish.
Oh, Archimedes, you were so much less of a bitch when you were a rabbit. After Merlin uses a spell to do Arthur's chores, he turns them both into squirrels to teach him about gravity. This is my favorite part of the movie for two reasons. This squirrel and this squirrel. They are goddamn hilarious.
Yes!
You do.
Her, she's the funnier one.
Despite Arthur and Merlin having no interest in him, at least I think so, that is Merlin's tale, right? Their downright stalker mentality mixed with their complete misreading of signals cracks me up.
May I
I I wish I was a fly on the wall to see these actresses record this crazy gibberish. How can you not laugh your ass off at this?
I love this. But it always made me sad when she finds out he's a human and then she starts crying. I'm like, no!
Baby, it's cold outside.
Rapist. Rapist.
Not to keep harping on this, but Pepe Le Pew got canceled for a lot less than this. Yeah, where in the Disney Plus description does it say squirrel handling like in Chip and Dale Bar? Yeah, I know I used that joke before, but it's too good to pass up.
By George!
Merlin turns them back into human, resulting in two very different reactions. One comical, which is still hilarious, and the other bizarrely dramatic. Yeah, it gets out of nowhere heavy here all of a sudden.
I had to tell you, I'm a boy.
He can't explain to her what's going on, and she can't understand him, so she just ends up being totally heartbroken. Then they dwell on it for a little bit. As a kid, I always thought when I got older I would understand this scene more, and honestly, I don't. But I kind of appreciate it more for that. I feel like you can read a few things into it. We know the heartbreak Arthur will eventually encounter, so it could be foreshadowing that.
I don't know about
this
that.
was to teach him about gravity, so maybe showing that all heavy things are physical, they can also be emotional.
That love business is a powerful thing.
Greater than gravity?
I'd say it's the greatest force on earth.
Stop.
I never fully figured it out, and I really like I never fully figured it out.
I always just had it. It's just that, just to what Merlin said. It's that love is a powerful emotion, and you know he might have some truth into. I don't see why he can't figure that out. I mean, the squirrel obviously fell in love with him, and you know, you got to see it from both perspectives. What if she really did fall in love? There's people out there fall in love really hard sometimes, and it's really sad when their hearts get broken.
Love can be complicated, so messages about love can be complicated too. It's weird, as I almost follow it less and less, I grow to enjoy it more and more.
I know.
But don't worry, we got fighting dishes and shit.
Oh, the kitchen! It's under an evil spell!
And to be fair, it is pretty funny.
It is.
How'd you like that to be your way to go? Suffocated by magic mop. I feel like if the beast didn't fall in love with Belle, that might be how one of the servants ends him.
Just because you can't understand
can't end
something
him like
doesn't
that.
mean it's wrong.
Arthur is punished for sticking up for Merlin and is told he can't be Kay's squire. Which, I don't know, sounds like a reward in this case.
I'm sorry, lad. Sorry, I spoiled everything.
I like Merlin apologizes even though he doesn't care if Arthur is a squire, but Arthur cares, and he sees that. This will also make for interesting friction later. He tries to make it up to him by giving him an education, though, leading to this simple but kind of inspiring line.
What good will that do?
Get it first, and who knows?
Like I said, the movie can be quietly smart in its own way.
No.
He tries to teach him about the science of flight, and that man will in fact fly someday. Archimedes says it's hogwash, and when his proof gets tangled in his beard, we get one of my favorite reactions in the film. There's like half a minute of this. Why that long? I don't know, but his laughing makes me laugh. Merlin turns Arthur into a bird, and Archimedes decides to show him the technicals of flight. But like underwater, there's also predators in the sky. Jesus, every place has a darkly colored carnivore waiting for him.
But it's life!
Careful, I think a vampire lives there.
Yeah, I know.
That gizzard.
We get the closest thing resembling a villain in this, Mad Madam Mim, played by Martha Wentworth. And even then, she's not really a villain as much as a disgruntled neighbor.
Yeah.
A disgruntled neighbor who settles things with death battles. This really is a great character who leads to a lot of comedic moments, but I guess also shows how someone can use magic for their own selfish means. Thus, Arthur sees through Merlin the importance of using his own future power for good.
Merlin's magic is always, useful for something good.
Again, nothing major, but a decent little lesson told in a decent little way. With that said, this Wizard's Duel is both really imaginative and really hilarious.
Yeah.
It's got some really great slapstick with some really great animation timing and sound effects.
Here I come, him, ready or not!
I just love that literally her first move is to cheat. Even before the duel starts, she's cheating. That's just so funny to me.
Just you wait. You're gonna pay.
It may also go without saying, but it's pretty creative no matter what animal they turn into. You can always tell which one is Merlin, which one is Arthur, and which one is Mim. Like from a mile away, you can instantly identify.
It's the colors.
It's just a nice little touch from a design point of view.
It's the colors.
I win! I win!
After Mim cheats for like the 10th time, Merlin finally decides to take her out by becoming a germ and making her sick. I really like he doesn't kill her. Again, this movie is smart to still keep things small and not too heavy. Apart from the one right the shit out of nowhere moment, but again, that makes it unique.
Surrender! Surrender!
After the other squire comes down with the mumps, Arthur is reinstated as squire, which angers Merlin, who sees this as an insulting step backwards.
And I thought you were going to amount to something. I thought you had a few brains.
But I got the outfit that's gonna be on all the advertising. Marketing-wise, this will be quite iconic. In one of the strangest ways to exit a character, Merlin shouts "blow me to Bermuda," and as if having no control over it, he's blown to Bermuda. Archimedes is now the even-tempered one helping Arthur out with less than 10 minutes left in the film.
Where did he go?
To Bermuda, I suppose.
Where's that?
I
An
always thought it
island
was
way off
weird.
somewhere that hasn't been discovered yet.
This is so odd, but again, I'll admit, it did leave an impact. As a kid, I always felt bad when he left, even if it was just for a little bit of time. Like he really did get involved and the choice he made really did affect him. It's a bizarre way to show it, but again, it does work in its own strange way.
I always thought that when he was shooting off and everything that he was kind of regretting leaving and he tried to stop it. It was more like he tried to stop it, or he's like, oh, should I go? Should I go? And then he's like, oh, fine, whatever.
Kay,
What?
I forgot your sword.
When Arthur realizes he forgot Kay's sword, he rushes to find another one and, well, you know what happens.
Yeah.
Watch it, boy.
I love this scene.
Woof, that thing's haunted. I'll give Kay the stick instead.
Yeah.
No, he pulls it out to the amazement of everyone at the tournament.
It's the sword in the stone. The sword in the stone.
That's great!
Yeah.
What the sword
Was
has
that?
in one-
Was that Tony the Tiger?
Once again proving that nobody can pull it out but Arthur.
This boy is our king.
Though it's a short moment, it's very warm and satisfying to see. I especially love seeing Hector apologize and Kay slowly but surely realize how wrong he was. Again, it's a quick bit of animation, it's even cut off by a dissolve, but there's a lot being processed in those few seconds that really goes a long way.
Yes.
Arthur is crowned, his voice puberty backpedals again.
Archimedes, I wish Merlin was here.
I'm sorry, that's never not funny to me for some reason. And Merlin returns, not apologizing, seeing how him being squire is what led to him pulling the damn sword out to begin with.
They'll be writing books about you for centuries to
Yeah.
come. Why, they might even make a motion picture about you.
With varying results.
Yeah.
And that was The Sword in the Stone, though my opinion does change over time. I do like that it stays with
It's
me.
a really good movie.
It doesn't fall into the usual Disney mold when you think about it. It's not a grand epic, it's not a comedy classic, it's not a small celebration of beauty. It's hard to say what it is, aside from content. It seems very content in its presentation. It's slow, a little odd, but not crazy weird. And it tells its story in a relaxed way that doesn't act like it needs you to like it. It gives a feeling like it's happy enough just existing, kind of like Arthur is just happy enough existing, yet he can still find more value in terms of what he's capable of. I guess I do constantly find hidden value in this movie, whether it's aware that value is there or not. In fact, I think that's what makes it so appealing. It doesn't feel like it's trying to hook you in with toys or marble adventures. Whether it was intentional or accidental, there is a humbleness to this film that I think keeps people coming back to it, even if they can't always explain why. Nobody requested me to review this film, it's just one that's always been in the back of my head, and I guess I wanted to figure out why that was. I think I've pointed out the majority of reasons why, but who knows? This film is so one of a kind, maybe there's even more reasons I haven't thought of. It's an interesting film in how much it's not
agree.
trying to stand out. And in a field where everybody is trying to stand out, I guess doing the opposite can go a long way and even be valued decades later.
I'm the nostalgia critic.
I'm a nostalgia critic guy, remember? So you don't have to.
Love it. Fantastic episode. I loved it. I knew it was going to be very interesting for him to point out some of the stuff, but yeah, I really loved that movie, and honestly, it even got me emotional just watching some of the scenes. I don't know, it's just, I never thought I'd know. A lot of people notice the same things that I noticed when I was there, but it's a really good movie with, as he said, not only does it seem laid back, but it also has layers to it. You know, kind of like Arthur. He's a lot more than he seems. He just seemed like a little boy, but what happened? He became king. Oh, it really is great. It really is a great movie. I hope he does more classic Disney movies in the future, like Lady and the Tramp. I hope, like, seriously. First, I loved that movie. I had an unhealthy obsession with that movie when I was a kid. So if he does Lady and the Tramp, I'll be like, woo! I don't know. It's just, I feel like Disney movies really connect to all of us really, really well, especially if we grew up with them. And the fact that we're able to look fondly back on our childhoods, it's just something you can't forget, you know? And it's because of Disney giving us so much quality content, quality movies and everything that they've given us over the years, over the since the 1940s. They've been giving us great movie after great movie. So, and Disney will always be there, no matter how bad it gets. So, but hey, this has been That Sexy Nerd Reacts. Please smash that like button if you want to see more sexy and nerdy content, and subscribe if you think I deserve it. So, I'll see you all in the next episode.